If you're here to research your upcoming trip to Sri Lanka, then look no further.
We're Field Visions and we're a family of three and we've been travelling since March 2022 and we've just spent an epic month travelling across Sri Lanka.
You could say we've learned a few things along the way, so we're putting together the most comprehensive guide to travelling Sri Lanka the internet has ever seen.
Now just about everyone coming in Sri Lanka is flying internationally, so you're probably feeling a little bit jet lagged, so the key is going to be to take the first day or two pretty easy.
We recommend spending the first night or two in Negombo at our personal favourite, the Seahorse Hotel. Taxi from the airport to the hotel will cost you around about 3,000 rupees from the main airport taxi stand, or you can download the Pick Me app for a much cheaper ride. And the good thing is, it will come in handy throughout your time in Sri Lanka. It's around a 15-minute journey to this hotel, and depending on what time you arrive, you'll probably want to take it easy. So head over to Negombo Beach and watch the amazing, beautiful sunset.
There are so many food options to eat from, but don't worry, we've got you covered in our full guide link below. But after watching sunset, grab some dinner and get to bed early for that well-needed rest.
You're probably not going to be feeling fully energized after what was a long flight. So day 2 is going to be about relaxing, hanging out by the pool and exploring the local town. Be sure to check out St. Mary's Church, which is one of the largest cathedrals in Sri Lanka, and head over to Zen Cafe for a spot of delicious lunch.
After a day of relaxing, it's time to get some evening dinner at one of our favourite restaurants, Tuk Tuk Wine and Dine. This place serves a mixture of Western and local food, and each night there's a different form of entertainment going on.
So, day 3 starts with grabbing breakfast at the hotel, packing your stuff up and getting ready for your Sri Lanka adventure to be turned up a notch. It's time to get up bright and early because today we have a 3-hour drive. That's right, we're heading to a town with an interesting name, Kandy. Surprisingly, it's not known for producing delicious sweets, but it is the cultural capital of the country. You're probably going to be arriving in the afternoon, so after checking into your hotel, walk around Kandy Lake before going to the cultural show. This starts at around about 5:30 p.m. every single day, and here you'll get to see a cultural dance and a fire show. Take the opportunity to get some pictures with the dancers, and don't forget to leave a little tip of appreciation. The show usually finishes just before sunset, which is a perfect time to get a view of the lake during golden hour, and finish off the evening with some delicious local food at our recommendation, Kandy Muslim Hotel. Try the cheese paratha and the kottu, because it was some of the best we've had in the whole of Sri Lanka. If you are stuck for a place to stay, then check out our full Sri Lanka guide where we share all the best places to stay in each location. We've got a link down below. Download the ebook and you've got much more in-depth information covering all budgets. Now, if you have time, we would recommend doing a daring climb up the Ambulawa Tower. It's often missed by a lot of travellers because it's located around about a 1-hour drive from Kandy. It's a long, spiral tower with some incredible views of the surrounding area. It can get a little bit windy up there, as we found out, so it's worth taking a light sweater to keep you warm, but this one is definitely for the thrill seekers. A top tip here, the ticket office opens at 8 a.m, but you can beat the crowds and get there for sunrise, do the climb up, and pay for the ticket on your way out. We'd also recommend paying 1,500 rupees for the 2-kilometer tuk-tuk ride to the entrance of the tower. It will definitely save you some energy. Now, from the tower, most people drive back to Kandy and then get a train passing the stunning tea countries to reach Nuwara Eliya, also known as Little England. However, we found a much easier way of doing this journey with a 1-year-old. We'll cover this slightly later on in the guide.
Day 4, we are driving all the way to Sigiriya, located just a 2.5-hour drive from Kandy, home to the iconic Sigiriya rock fortress. The best view of the fortress is from the alternative hike called Pidurangilan, an easy 20-minute climb up a paved pathway with some tricky parts, but nothing too strenuous for beginner hikers.
1,000 each, yeah? The prices have increased, so Google reviews a year ago were 500. Well, at least it's official because it's got it written there.
Okay.
1,000. So the prices have gone up.
Here you will get a 360 view of Sigiriya and beyond, and get the view of the amazing Sigiriya Rock Fortress in all its glory. After the hike, get yourself down to Sigiriya restaurant for some delicious grilled chicken, and if you're lucky, you may be able to see an elephant being bathed or witness the acrobatic skills of the locals. If you have time to stay a few nights in Sigiriya, we'd definitely recommend relaxing in one of the many beautiful hotels in nature, hiking the rocks, or just enjoying the vibes of the town. If you want to venture out to a more off the beaten path, then we'd recommend making your way to Wasgamuwa National Park next. Here, you can get an intimate safari experience at the fraction of a cost compared to Yala National Park, which is one of the more famous parks here in Sri Lanka. Though at Wasgamuwa there's less chance of seeing leopards, you do get to experience the park pretty much on your own. The drive to Wasgamuwa was one of the most beautiful drives we did in the whole of Sri Lanka, passing lakes, rice fields and watching locals work. It just really gave us a more appreciation of this country and the local people. We recommend booking a hotel that's near the national park entrance. Not only will it make your safari experience more convenient, there's really not a lot going on around the local area. When you arrive at your hotel, check in and spend the evening relaxing with a cheeky dip in the pool and book yourself a safari for the next morning. Usually the hotels are really good at arranging that, and the price is same across all boards. We stayed at the Lavendish Wild Safari. Nice, spacious, beautiful rooms with amazing view of the lake, and due to its location, we stuck to having breakfast, lunch and dinner at the hotel. Oh, and a top tip here is, make sure all your batteries, your camera equipment and everything is fully charged, because the Wasgamuwa National Park Safari is absolutely amazing. Day 6. After the safari, make your way to Dambana tribal village for a chance to meet the last indigenous tribe of Sri Lanka, the oldest inhabitants of the country. Dambana village, which is a remote jungle village, is home to the Bedouin community. The Bedouins preserve a direct line of descent from the island's original Neolithic community dating back to at least 18,000 BC. We were shown how they hunt and make fire using cotton and stone. You can enter the museum to learn more about the community for a small fee. Spend the night in a nearby town called Mahayangana and get some well-needed rest before another long drive tomorrow. Before heading off to our next place, we can take a little detour and go and visit the 18 Bends Road. This is one of the most beautiful roads in the whole of Sri Lanka, and as the name suggests, it's got 18 bends. Now after the 18 Bends Road, we're now going to head over to a town called Nuwara Eliya, also known as Little England. And when you arrive there, you can clearly see why. We'd recommend spending a night or two in a colonial style hotel and explore the lush green tea estates and gardens. Visit the largest tea factory in Sri Lanka called Damro Tea to learn about the tea making process and taste some of the finest teas that you ever will here in Sri Lanka, with a slice of cake or two. The tour is free, but we'd recommend tipping the guides, and if you're lucky, one of the workers may even take you on a tour around the tea estate. You can also purchase different varieties of tea here, but you might be able to get them cheaper outside in the markets. So just bear that in mind. Once you've done a little tour of the tea factory, you can take a walk in Victoria Park, a horse ride in Lake Gregory, or one of the many hiking trails before finishing off the afternoon in an indulgent high tea at the Grand Hotel. Now, in Nuwara Eliya, this is where we did Sri Lanka's most beautiful train ride. Many people tend to do the 6-hour train journey from Kandy all the way to Ella, but honestly, the thought of a 6-hour train journey with a kid, no thank you. So we decided to get the train from the nearby train station Nanwea all the way to Hatton. It's a 1-hour journey and much easier to do when you have children. Of course, you don't get to see the beautiful views from Kandy. However, you do get to experience the beautiful lush tea plantations, and it doesn't get any better than this. Day 9, we're jumping back on the road and we're heading to Ella. This place will blow you away and is a huge contrast to what we have experienced in our Sri Lanka journey so far. It's safe to say that this was the first point in our holiday where things will feel a little more touristy. Popular amongst the hippie crowd, Ella has a unique feel to it. A tiny little town with one main street lined with fancy restaurants, bars, souvenir shops as well as local eateries. It almost feels like you are in, dare I say it, Bali without the traffic. Drop your bags off at the hotel and head straight to the Little Adams Peak hike. This is a great little hike which passes through the famous zip line and small tea fields where you can see some of the locals picking tea. You can take some pictures, but do ask the locals beforehand and help them out by giving them a small tip. These ladies work all day in the hot sun for minimal wages, so a small gesture goes a long way for them. When you get to the top of the hike, you'll be greeted with the most stunning views around the surrounding areas. Finish off the first night with one of the many places to eat here on the main street. We've shared our top picks in our Sri Lanka guide linked below. Our second day in Ella starts bright and early to beat the crowds and visit the famous 9-arch bridge. There's 2 ways to get to the bridge, which we've covered in 2 separate videos, so be sure to check them out. But our favourite was the not so secret hike, which is across the road from Cafe Umbrella. Once you get to the bridge, you'll see the train times posted up by locals, so get yourself a king coconut from this lovely lady and take in the views of this engineering marvel. Walk over to the bridge and witness the train pass by. If you're lucky, it'll stop for a picture opportunity. By now, it's still the morning, so it's time to get some breakfast. There's so many cafes nearby which serve all kinds of breakfast, but our hotel served up a delicious spread, so we recharged, got a little nap in, ready for the afternoon. Walking around the town is an option, but if you want to do something really unique, head over to the Rwanda Pool Club and take in the afternoon sun and swim in the pool with a beautiful view. To end the night, we recommend eating at one of our favourite restaurants, Ayuba One. Get the sizzling chicken and the steak, a nice break from the local food which we've been eating for the last few days.
So, after spending the last week exploring the tea plantations and the wildlife of Sri Lanka, it's time to hit up the beautiful beaches. And trust me, there's no shortage of them. But before we do, there's one more thrill-seeking adventure, and that is crossing the B35 route. You could get the high roads down all the way to the beach areas, or you can get on this road that cuts through Yala National Park for a chance to spot some elephants in the wild crossing the roads. How amazing does that sound? Be careful though, the elephants are predictable and there is a chance of some accidents, but if you're careful, there shouldn't be any issues. It's a long drive down to the coast, so we'd definitely recommend stopping off at a coastal town called Tangalle. You can stay at one of the many resorts just by the beach, and in the morning, we recommend getting breakfast at Salt Breeze Cafe. Some of the best smoothie bowls that we've had in our time in Sri Lanka, and if you've got a love for espresso like me, you need to get yourself a double. After breakfast, head over to Hikkaduwa beach, or as locals will call it, Hiri. This is one of the beach towns we didn't really hear about when we were planning our 3-week trip. I wouldn't quite call it a hidden gem of the south coast. Over the years, it's become more and more popular with surfers, and it's created this kind of like a surfing town vibe feel, where you've got restaurants and little cafes lined across the beach, and you can sit down and watch those surfers break the waves in this horseshoe-shaped beach. The nearby town of Dikwella is definitely worth checking out. It's not popular at the moment, but it's definitely on the rise. So before all the tourists get there and you have time, make sure you stop off. Whether you're looking for a place to surf or just to spend a few days relaxing after a very busy itinerary in Sri Lanka, either Dikwella or Hiri are definitely places to recommend. These 2 beach towns, I have to say, are probably our favourite coastal areas in the whole of Sri Lanka.
Day 13 and we're now heading to Mirissa, one of the more popular beach towns in Sri Lanka, and it's easy to see why. But on the way, we stopped up at a place called Mahi Mahi Restaurant Bar. This was an unplanned stop, but one of the best decisions that we made on the whole trip. We were so shocked to see how quiet this place was, and we had the whole place and the beach almost to ourselves. After getting a coconut and relaxing on the swings, we noticed a turtle point towards the end of the beach, and to our surprise, there were actual turtles swimming around close to the shore. You can buy some seaweed from the locals and feed them, but I'm not sure how ethical that is. Enfan went in and swam with them up close and personal. Then we continued to Mirissa. Arriving in the evening, we got some dinner. Here we had some of the best food we've had in the whole of Sri Lanka. Check out Tandoori Chicken Mirissa, the best tandoori chicken we've had so far on this trip. For breakfast, we headed to Shady Lane, a cool spot serving some great coffee. We got the avocado on toast as well as the Nutella oat banana pancakes. They were absolutely divine, and they set us up nicely for the day. After breakfast, spend the day on the beach, and if surfing is your thing, then Mirissa is the place to do it. There's tons of water sports available, such as wakeboarding and even jet skis. After a day of water activities, it's time to get back to the hotel and get ready for dinner. About a 15-minute drive from Mirissa, there's Mediha Beach. Here you can get a breathtaking sunset and get dinner at the doctor's house. There's entertainment most evenings, but the star of the show was the most amazing sunset. And before you leave Mirissa, be sure to check out Coconut Tree Hill. It's located just a 15-minute walk from Mirissa Beach, and you will get the most amazing 360 view.
Hikkaduwa is the final beach town in our south coast trip of Sri Lanka. It has more of a family-friendly feel here with larger resorts, bigger restaurants and a more laid-back vibe. Here you'll be able to find reefs where you can go snorkeling, or if you're into it, check out some of the dive spots here in Sri Lanka.
Day 19, before heading to Colombo, we're stopping off for one night in the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Galle. Here, life slows down as locals play cricket alongside the beach, travellers walk around the ancient fort walls, and street vendors sell fresh tropical fruit under the palm trees. Its history makes it a melting pot of culture with a unique fusion of European and Asian influences, as seen in the whitewashed Dutch-style buildings that line the cobble streets. We've travelled to many cities with colonial heritage, but it was Galle where we could really feel this came to life. Walk around the town and explore the local markets. The Dutch fort is the highlight of the city, as well as the lighthouse, and the great thing about the city is that all the main attractions are in short walking distance from each other. We got some mangoes from a lovely street vendor who played with Sigiriya and some ice cream, and spent the afternoon walking around and took in the interesting history of this town.
Our final stop in this whole trip is going to be Colombo. Now, it's something not to be sad about because Colombo is actually an amazing city, and we're going to show you why. Many people skip this place, but it was definitely one of the highlights, and that's why we recommend staying 2 nights here. The contrast between the modern Colombo city port to the market surrounding the Red Mosque are something to witness. When you arrive at the city, stop off at the city port and walk around the beautiful bridge, then head up to one Galle-faced mall to experience the luxury side of the city. For dinner, the mall isn't actually a bad place, and it's got a really good food court. It was here that we found out that majority of the fast food chain restaurants in Sri Lanka are halal, except Domino's. So as you do, we went for the most localist place that we could find when here in the mall and got a good old Burger King. After walking around the mall and getting some dinner, we recommend checking into your hotel for an early night because your final day is gonna be a memorable one. We're getting up bright and early and heading straight to the Red Mosque. This mosque was built by Muslim traders from India who needed a place to worship when they visited Sri Lanka for business. The unique red colour and the domes are modelled on the pomegranate fruit, the fruit of paradise that's referenced directly in the Quran. Now, tourists of all religions and background are welcome at the mosque, and they even hold a free walking tour explaining the history, the architecture and the local significance. So if you're in Colombo, definitely give this mosque a visit. After your little tour of the mosque, head right across the road to a restaurant called Sweet Tomato. Now this place is as local as you can get, and it was here where we got our first taste of true Sri Lankan style rice and curry. And I have to say, it blew us away, and it was at this point in time where we knew Sri Lanka food was going to be the one for us. After lunch, we're going to walk around a nearby market called Peta Market. Now, it's not necessarily a place where you're going to buy stuff from, but it is really interesting. It's one of those places which is open air and you can literally buy anything.
And that's exactly what I love about this market. You can come down the street, buy yourself a phone cover, a spare plug, replacement light bulbs and some brooms all in one street. So you don't have to run between shop to shop.
So the last thing that you're going to do on your final day is going to blow you away. If street food is your thing, head over to Abdul Hamid Street to try out one of the hundreds of dishes available at Alukade Street Food. And I hope I've pronounced that right. This has to be the highlight of Colombo. A bustling street food with every type of food on offer, from barbecue, roti, curry, and if you're more adventurous like us, try a chili shop or some smoky bites. We visited this place 2 nights in a row, and on the second night we got trapped by the rain, and these amazing locals gave us refuge in their shop, and it was here where we tried Sri Lankan tea for the first time. So if you do find yourself on Abdul Hamid Street, go along to this shop, have a cup of tea and say hello from Nadia, Irfan and baby Zakaria. I hope they remember us.
Without having a tuk-tuk, I don't think we would have enjoyed Sri Lanka as much as we did. It truly gave us the freedom to go wherever we wanted. You can save 5% off by using code FIELDOFVISIONS at tuktukrental.com.
So that is our 3-week itinerary to traveling Sri Lanka. But there's so much more to do on this beautiful island. So make sure you check out our ebook where we've listed all the best hotels and restaurants to eat at. There's a link in the description below.
And if you found this video useful, don't forget to check out our Sri Lanka playlist. Do give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, follow your Visions Guide, and we'll see you on the next one.